Skill records are the most important things in SAO Integral Factor, but how do we choose the right banner to pull, especially if you are a free-to-play player? New skill order banners in SAO Integral Factors are introduced very often, and in the year 2023 alone, we already have more than 80 orders banner introduced, which is more than one banner per week on average. It is impossible to pull on every single banner and get those features skills unless you are a billionaire who is willing to spend religiously on the game. The good news is that we don't have to pull on every single order because not all of the feature skills are worth getting. And how do we decide on which banner is the best one to pull really depends on whether you are in the early game, mid game, or late game state in the game, and the skills that you already have. So the answer will be different for every players. I know that it is not a good answer for most of you, so let me share some information that will allow you to decide for yourself whether the new banner is something that is worth pulling or not, and at the end I will show you my thought process when deciding on which banner to pull. To start with, you need to know that there are three common types of Gacha banners. The first one is the 3-step banners, which consists of 50% discount in the first step, regular price on the second, and the guarantee 4-star skills on the third step, which will cost 6,250 Arcana gems for full rotations. The second one is the 5-step banners, which consists of 50% discount on the first step, regular price on the second step, guaranteed 4-star skills on the third step, and regular price on the fourth step, and the guaranteed featured skills on the fifth step, and it costs 11,250 Arcana gems for the full rotations. Last but not least is the guaranteed 4-star skills on the single step banner, which sounds like the best values out of all the three, but this type of banner usually reintroduces existing skills, while the 3 steps and the 5 steps banner are used to introduce new skill records, which usually are stronger compared to their predecessors. Therefore, among these 3 types, the 5-step banner is the one that offers the most value because it guarantees a new skills if we can do all the 5 steps. The 3-step banners gives us a higher chance of getting the new features skill on the step 3, but there is only around 33% chance of getting them. On the 5 steps, we also get 33% chance of getting the new feature skills on the third step, but also 100% chance when we can do the step 5. But it does not mean that we need to just save for the 5-step banners, because what really important is the skill record that they features on those banners. Like mentioned before, your game progress and skills that you have will heavily influence whether the banner is worth pulling or not. If you don't know whether you are in the early, mid, or late game in your progress, I have a previous video that I will link at the end of this video for you to watch later. Basically, our player needs will be different depending on our game progresses. For example, in the early game, we will want to be able to clear the content faster, thus we'll look for a high damage AoE skills, while for the end game content, the need will be very specific, like getting the skill with mark debuff or a certain element mod skills to fight the end game bosses. Also, you would not want to get the new feature skills from the banner if you already have one with a similar effect, even though the skill is considered to be a really good skill. For example, if you already have a skill with Power Rise 3 and Holy Conversions, getting another ability with Power Rise 3 and Holy Conversion is not going to be adding that much value. And getting another Power Rise 3 with the different elements will also not that valuable if you are in the early and mid game stage, but in the late game it can be a game changer. With that knowledge, I developed a system to compare the value of a skill order banner to help me choose which banner to summon on. I give a 3-step banners a 7 base point because it does not guarantee a new skills, and 10 base points on the 5-step banners because it guarantees the new skills on step 5. For the single step order banner, I give a 15-point base point because it is cheap, and of course I will only pull if I can do the full rotations. Then I will give each one of the new skills a point based on how useful it is on my player personally, and average those points for the final tally. For example, let's compare these banners that are available at the moment, with the first one being the White Christmas Order. This is a 5-step banner, so it gets a 10 base points. The first skill is this Kirito skill, which is a maze full burst skills with Earth element. The damage multiplier is somehow lower than the previous full burst maze skills, and the skill effect is only useful in party situations against very specific elements enemies, and the buff is not that big as well. I think this skill is not gonna be that useful for me at the moment since I don't play as a buffer that much, so I give it a 3 point. Next is the Lifa skills. There is an Awakening Axe skill with a 45% attack buff, which is a really good axe support skill, but it requires 2 Agile skills which will be difficult for me to build, so I give it a 7 point. Then there is an Axel Dark Spear Sachi skill with a Stigma debuff that can increase damage taken by the enemy. This is a really useful skill in a party situations like GOT or Labyrinth bosses. I give this a 9 point because we can contribute with the skills at a Labyrinth party even though we don't have a good DPS set. Last is the Sanya skill, which is a full burst ability skill. The effect itself is decent, and given that I don't have a full burst ability skills and it can increase the full burst skill use, this can be very useful for my burst water sets rapiers. I give it a 7 points on the skills. So this banner on average is a 7.2 points for me. Then I will do the same thing to the memory defrag order banner, but this is a 3-step banner, so it will be a 7 point for the banner. The first skill here, I give it a 7 point because this is an awakening skills and I don't have that many awakening sword skills. The effects are good, but I already have a piercing hero Kirito with similar effects and lower cooldown, but the other effects are going to be difficult to activate. And this Asuna Rapier Dark Mod skill is going to be very useful against a Chaos Warden, so I give it a solid 9. It's not 10 because the critical damage effect is going to be difficult to use on the higher level bosses. The Yuki Power Rise 3 is a really good skills, but I already have a good Power Rise 3 skills, and the 20% attack here is going to be a little difficult for me to activate because I don't really have that much good Asuna ability skills. And the earth element conversion here is not going to be that useful for the current content, so it is a 7 point for me. The full burst axe Yu-Gi-Oh skill is really powerful, so I give it a 9 point. The point deduction is because the effect only works when the enemy HP is greater than 50%, and so on average this banner is a 7.8 for me. Then we have the Unleashed Blading banner, which is another 3-step banners. I will go through this one quickly because the first 2 examples should be enough to help you understand on how to do it. So this is the score that I give to this banner. The Kirito skill being a 5 because it is not that useful. The Asuna Full Burst Rapier skill is a 10 because I have a Wind Connect skill. And Lifa is a 4 point because Axel Sword is not that useful, and Xenon is an 8 point because it is a really good mod skills, but there is no content worth farming with Earth and Trust element yet, so it averages at 6.8. Then we have the Grab Bag banner, which is a single step, but this is a special banner because it guarantees 2 4-star skills and 24% chance of getting 4-star skills. So it deserves a higher base at 20 or even higher. However, there are hundreds of skill records in that banner that I won't bother going through all of them one by one, since most likely it's just gonna be a 5 points or less for me, since I only need some specific skills now. It may be a 7 point for beginners though. Now that we have all of the existing banner score, we also need to consider the upcoming banner, since we most likely not gonna have enough Arcana gems for the next banner once we spend on the multi-step banner. What I usually do is wait for the highest point banner end state and compare the new banner that is coming in with that. If it still have the highest point, I will pull on that banner before it is gone. So now that you know how to decide on the best banner to pull, check out this next video here to help you determine what skills are gonna be useful for your current progressions to help you give a better points on the skills. I will see you there. Bye now.